Good afternoon. My name is Dan Sheehan. I am the president and the chief legal counsel for the Romero Institute, based here in Santa Cruz, California. We are working here out of California, running two major projects that you probably know about. The first is the Let's Green California project, which sponsored a major piece of legislation this year in 2022 called Senate Bill 1230. That is the bill that was successfully passed through both houses and signed into law by Governor Newsom, which consolidates all of the four different incentive programs for lower income people to purchase electric vehicles. This is now law in California, that all of the programs are consolidated and they're all made available through one centralized computer center, and they're available at the point of purchase. So that a person does not have to wait and try to get a return on their income tax deduction. This has all been accomplished in 2022, and we are now moving into 2023, where we're going to be sponsoring the second of three bills. And this will be a bill that will provide for a state-subsidized charge card, so that low-income people and lower middle-income people can have a credit card, basically, pursuant to which they can charge, and it will be billed directly to their utility bill, their private utility bill, at a substantially reduced rate, which is subsidized by the state. So these are a large number of things that we've been doing, including working with the Catholic diocese here in Central California to get the churches to put solar panels on their churches. And also, we've had a major project with a major public health center going completely solar, so that that public health center can in fact run on solar power for several days, even if all the grids are down. So we've done a number of these major projects under our first project of Let's Green California in the Global Climate Change Project. The second major project that you probably know about is our Lakota People's Law Project. Our Lakota People's Law Project has been successful over the years in helping to redesign the enforcement guidelines for the Indian Child Welfare Act. We were contacted by the Justice Department, and as experts in this area were asked to promulgate a series of enforcement rules and regulations for the Indian Child Welfare Act. We have successfully done that. Those were approved by Congress. They became the subject for a major litigation that you've probably heard about. It's gone all the way to the United States Supreme Court here in 2022. The American Association of Adoption Attorneys, that now refer to themselves as the American Academy of Adoption Attorneys, that were making up to $100,000 on every Indian child that they could adopt out to a wealthy white family, filed a lawsuit against our enforcement guidelines because they were so effective in stopping them from getting access to the children. And that's gone all the way to the United States Supreme Court, and we successfully filed a major amicus brief, a friend of the court brief, on behalf of Senator James Aberesk, who was the author of the Indian Child Welfare Act, who is the chairman of our board of advisors for our Lakota People's Law Project. We also mounted a very successful major campaign to maximize voter registration among the Native people in South Dakota in 2022. And we've also established a major foster care home and a teen center up in the Dakotas. So this is a lot of the work that we've been doing with regard to the Lakota People's Law Project. Our legal counsel there in the Dakotas is Chase Iron Eyes, the 2016 National Democratic Party nominee for Congress in South Dakota. There are, however, a number of other projects that I'd like to report to you that we've been very actively engaged in throughout 2022. The third of our projects is a strategic investigation project, where we're investigating the source of the major climate change. Under this, we've prepared a 350-page federal criminal racketeering lawsuit complaint to be filed against the 6 major oil corporations here in the state of California, charging them with criminal violations, not just civil violations for which they'll be asked to simply pay a fine, but criminal violations which would send their CEOs and their major board members to prison for what they've been doing, engaging in a major criminal fraud, deceiving all of the people and the government regulators about the fact that they knew that their products were causing global climate change. We have now the documents that have been extracted in discovery to show that they knew that they were causing climate change, and they were not only lying about it and concealing it, but they actually mounted a full-scale public education campaign and lobbying campaign to deceive everybody about this. In 2023, we're going to be presenting this federal criminal racketeering complaint to the Attorney General, Rob Bonta, here in the state of California, as well as to the United States Attorney's Office here in the state of California. And we're also engaged in major investigations of the World Economic Forum and their Great Reset project that they have underway right now, trying to steal all of the concepts of the Green New Deal to preserve their supply-side economic model, which is generating literally billions of dollars of income to the major oil corporations and their financing bank organizations and public relations companies, et cetera. We are investigating the role of the World Economic Forum and their new Council for an Inclusive Capitalism that is attempting to salvage the supply-side economic system that is causing the major problems of global climate change, as well as the major inflation and other things that we've been experiencing in 2022. This is going to be a very important strategic investigation to drill down on who is really behind what's going on here with global climate change, in addition to the oil corporations. There is an additional project that we are engaged in, and it's now called the moral dimension of climate change. We're going to be working with the St. Francis Retreat Center here in San Juan Bautista in California, hosting a series of retreats for up to 100 people, talking about the moral dimensions of climate change and exploring the social justice documents of all of the major faith traditions and what their relationship is to global climate change and the justice components here. Additionally, we have established a 501c4 public lobbying operation now, along with a political action committee that is able to actually advocate the election of particular individuals and also promulgate particular legislation. This is going to be a very aggressive program that is going to be put into the public independently from our Romero Institute, but you can follow it. It's under the Christic Institute that we were accused in Washington, D.C. of having engaged in political activity in alleged violation of our 501c3. But now we have a 501c4, which is legally authorized to do all of that. So that's what we're doing, and we're engaged in the development of an entire array of progressive policies, and we're trying to assemble a progressive cabinet for 2024, that whoever the president happens to be, that we're going to be advocating that there be particular people directing the 15 federal cabinet departments and the 8 major federal agencies, and we're going to be laying out an entire progressive agenda for each one of the departments and each one of these agencies. So these are the projects that we're going to be engaged in 2023, and we're asking for your support. You've been very helpful to us throughout 2022. Now, we need your support for all of these projects. We think that we've been very successful so far in these projects, and we're asking for your support in 2023. So please, go to our website at romeroinstitute.org and look for the details on all these programs, and you can earmark, if you choose to do so, your contributions for any one of these projects, or you can give to the general fund for the Romero Institute. And then we will be able to help sustain our administration costs, our bookkeepers, and our record keepers that we need to have for all of our administration here. I thank you for your time, and I thank you in advance for your financial support for our activities in 2023.
It's been a very challenging year, and I think one of the things we've learned is that stick-to-itiveness, persistence, courage, hard work, faith, never give up, is again succeeded in having tremendous successes in both of the 2 big projects, and we're incubating 5 other projects. Right now, when we look ahead, we see the moral imperative to address climate change is going to be a very big issue. We need to be thinking about whether or not what we're doing can positively affect what happens in 2024. Because 2024 is a pivotal moment. Whatever happens in that election is going to affect the entire world and the future of our country.